there. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to part 3 of what will be or what is the weekly review of Diddy's first week on trial for the many federal charges that he has been accused of and allegations against, to include such ones of racketeering and trafficking and so forth and so on. So if you have not had opportunity to check out part 1 and part 2, please make sure you take the time to do so, because there is a lot of information on all of the 4 parts that will be actually uploaded today, the day of the filming, which is actually May 18th. And so I want to make sure that you get all the information in regards to just the highlighted areas that I have come across in regards to the week situation that is Diddy's trial, the trial of the century, one of many. So I do definitely want to make sure I just reiterate that there is definitely a trigger warning for all 4 parts, as we are talking about some really emotional, hard-hitting, triggering, sensitive information in regards to those things that were alleged and stated under oath in testimonies of the witnesses that were presented last week, that of which included Cassie Ventura, obviously Diddy's ex, and really the one that kind of got the ball rolling with this whole entire situation as far as the explosion of it all and getting us to the point that we are in right now with that lawsuit that she had dropped in November 2023. We also had Don Richards from the acclaimed group, Danity Kane, a group that was out in early 2000, mid 2000 time frame, a very popular group at the time. She's also had went on to get into another group with Diddy, I believe it's called Dirty Money. And she had too, as well, has dropped a lawsuit in regards to allegations as well. I want to say sometime last year, probably late last year, mid to late last year, something to that extent. But she also was a witness for last week. We also had a couple of male escorts that were also there to share what they encountered and experienced and seen and so forth and so on during the times that they've had in connection with Diddy, as well as we have a little information that was shared in regards to one of the FBI agents, as far as what was seen during the room search at the time, I think, of him actually being, brought in and arrested subsequently, as well as probably was someone that was part of the team for the actual raids as well. So lots is going on. This is just the first week that we have just wrapped up with. We're going into next week. If you had been following or familiar or would have caught in the part 1 and 2 of the parts here, we know that Cassie is very, very much pregnant, 8 months to be exact, and looking to potentially give birth in the first week of June. So it was really important for her testimony to be put out there on record and to be wrapped up within a certain period of time. And that was done on May 16th, Friday, which is when she actually has left the stand and doesn't appear to be coming back anymore, has been able to be examined, cross-examined, questioned, and all of that during last week. It was a grueling week of testimony, very emotional, as you could imagine. And I covered a lot of highlighted details that was provided for last week's trial. So definitely make sure that you take a look-see at both those videos so you can get those information and additional details that was presented there. Now, for part 3, as I shared in part 1 and 2, we're going to be covering a little bit of a different angle of the situation, which is we're going to be actually going over the information in which Alex Fine, which is Cassie Ventura's husband, who was fully, knowledge of the things that have happened and has been sitting in court with her the entire time, along with also a few of her family members as well. So that must have been heart-wrenching, to say the least. And then we also have Aubrey O'Day, another very much infamous band member of Danity Kane, who's was a co-band member with Don Richards, who has had a lot to say over the years, right? We've heard her say a lot of things at different times about Diddy and her experiences there. And it got more intense as things got more closer into closing in onto Diddy and what is now where we are in this trial. And so, she's got some information she shared on a podcast that she was on. And oddly enough, a admission or revelation of sorts in regards to this case, because I know a lot of people were looking to see that she would be put on the stand and maybe have a lot to say there. So we're going to get into that as well. And then lastly, we're going to cover Justin Bieber. That is also an individual who has been circulating around a lot in the orb of Diddy, as far as people thinking that he may have been also an alleged victim of the escapades of Diddy. And well, he's got some things to say as well, in the sense of that they're setting a record straight. So with that, let's go ahead and dive right on into part 3. This will be coming from different areas, of course. And so, whatever sharings that I get that from, I'll drop all that information in the description area below. So you can feel free to go out and take a look at those areas as well, if you like, to get all that additional information as well. Also, I say that to the point that as we want to keep things YouTube friendly, there are words that I'll be switching up, changing around, spelling that I'll do instead, just to make sure we keep it YouTube friendly. But again, trigger warning on all and any information that we will be covering in this part, as well as subsequently in part 4 and part 1 and 2. Because again, this is a very sensitive nature, as we all know. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get into it, okay? All right, so this sharing is coming from People, Newsbreak, and the Daily Beast. And this is right now going to be covering the portion of Cassie's husband and him speaking out after listening to 4 days of disturbing testimony about Diddy and his now wife, as well as he and Cassie appear to twist that knife into Diddy with their last statements as well. So let's go ahead and get into that. Now, Cassie Ventura finished her last day of testimony in Sean Diddy Combs' trafficking case on Friday, as she and husband Alex Fine took one final parting shot at the rapper. Ventura testified for 4 days about the abuse and fear she says she suffered at Combs' hands from his constant freak-off-esque performances that she said made her basically a S worker. To the beatings he allegedly handed out liberally over the course of their 11-year relationship. And the prosecution is relying heavily on Ventura's testimony to establish a pattern of Combs' alleged coercion tactics to make its case that the rapper regularly pressured victims into S acts and used his power to do so. Now, Ventura, who was 8 months pregnant with her third child with Fine, was free to put the trial behind her for good on Friday afternoon, after which her attorney read a statement on her behalf. This week has been extremely challenging, but also remarkably empowering and healing for me, the statement began, according to CNN. I hope that my testimony has given strength and a voice to other survivors and can help others who have suffered to speak up and also heal from ABUSC and fear. She also wrote that for me, the more I heal, the more I can remember. And the more I can remember, the more I will never forget. She thanked my family and my advocates for their unwavering support and requested privacy for me and for my growing family. Alex Fine has been married to Cassie since 2019, shortly after she announced her split from Diddy. After 4 days of harrowing testimony detailing the alleged ABUSC of his wife, Cassandra Cassie Ventura, during Sean Diddy Combs' high-profile trial, Alex Fine is speaking out. Fine, 32, has been married to Ventura again since 2019. The couple share 2 children together and are expecting their third, as Ventura testifies in the 8th month of her pregnancy. Now, in a statement issued to reporters Friday as the trial wrapped up its first week, Fine addressed Combs and all of those who helped him along the way. Please know this: you did not, and you did not break her spirit, nor her smile that lights up every room. He addressed speculation online about his experience sitting and listening to Ventura's graphic and lurid testimony of Combs' alleged years-long sexual and physical and psychological abuse. He says, I have felt so many things sitting there. I have felt tremendous pride and overwhelming love for Cass. I have felt profound anger that she has been subjected to sitting in front of a person who tried to break her, he said. I did not save Cassie, as some have said. To say that is an insult to the years of painful work my wife has done to save herself. Cassie saved Cassie, he added. She alone broke free from her ABUSC and coercion, violence, and threats. She did the work for fighting the demons that only a demon himself could have done to her. All I have done is love her as she has loved me, he said. Fine has been lauded by fans for standing by his wife, not just during hours of testimony this week, but from earlier on in her journey to address Combs' alleged abuse. Now, soon after CNN published the hotel lobby video for Combs' kicking and beating Ventura in 2016, Fine has shared a note on Instagram stating, "Men who hit women aren't men." In 2019, he ran a marathon for domestic violence awareness, and a resurfaced video shows the couple sharing an emotional hug after he finished. In his statement on Friday, he reiterated the bravery and indomitable spirit, indomitable, that's the word, indomitable spirit of his wife, adding, "You did not break the soul of a mother who gives the best hugs and plays the silliest games with our little girls. You did not break the woman who has made me a better man." And again, I want to share, as it shares in this sharing, if you or someone you know has been assaulted, please contact the National Assault Hotline at 1-800-656-HOPE 4673, or go to RAINN.org. I will leave that information in the description area as well of this video. And so, as Alex has shared, and has so many of you may have heard yourself, and may even said yourself, the amount of support that Cassie has been able to receive from her close loved ones, and definitely much number one being of her husband, has been so heartwarming to see that she has someone that she can really be vulnerable with, share these things with, the darkest sides of yourself and the darkest sides of a situation, and be able to go through the healing to become whole again, in a better mindset with more wisdom behind you, and definitely all that added wisdom that I feel will continue as the therapy will continue, will be those things that will help their children who they are raising to become adults, and to whether they will not find themselves succumb to the same type of experiences that Cassie has had to endure, or that Cassie has endured. It definitely, as I shared in the other parts as well, people definitely have their thoughts about how they feel about all parties, both parties, one party over the other, whatever the case may be. This is very much a sensitive situation, as we all know. It's very triggering. And if all things that have been alleged turn out to be resulting in what could potentially be the rest of Diddy's life incarcerated, then it will be something of a place for people to begin to start healing. So again, all things are alleged. Diddy is, obviously has said that he is not guilty of the charges that have been brought against him, and the defense is working vigorously to get their side out, get his side out, and get that perspective and narrative going, along with the persecution doing their thing and getting their side, and also their perspective, and through all the testimony and witnesses they have out as well. So it's a lot going on. I cannot only imagine that it must be a lot, not only to hear it, to experience it, to see it, to be in the room. It's probably highly charged a situation with all of the things, and then also knowing that Diddy's children are in the audience as well, and listening, and all of those things. And I don't know if they were there for all 4 days, but we have seen footage and know of them being there, and I have shared a little bit about that in the past part as well of this series. So definitely a lot to be said, and I do appreciate Alex taking the opportunity to really be able to say what he needed to say about his wife for all of us, and in a way that will hopefully close a chapter for them as well, so they can move on with really huge focus just on their family and growing their family, and continue to move on with their lives, as we'll see how that works out for everybody else involved as well. I imagine this is a huge relief for Cassie to be able to close this chapter before giving birth to her third child with Alex. And so at this point, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if celebrating is the word at this point, right? Because we don't know what the end result is, but I think being relieved and feeling the pressure, whatever this goes, that this part has done, and this is the chapter that they can begin to close. Whatever is, and we'll just see how that all pans out. I do appreciate him taking the opportunity and time also to share about the fact that I didn't save her, she saved herself. And that's very monumental for someone that is going through trauma and is trying to heal through trauma, irregardless of what anyone may think about that experience. This is her experience. This is what she is going through, and this is what she has been, transparent, whether she willingly or not willingly, initially in really how she may feel along the way. This is her journey, and she is walking that journey in the best way that she can. And it seems with a lot of love and a lot of care and a lot of therapy attached with that. And from what I understand, there's been conversation that she is probably going to be looking at therapy for the rest of her life. And whatever it takes to get her into a good headspace, to stay in a good headspace, to stay supported, is always a benefit, especially for her children as well. So she can be the best mother she needs to be. And they can be the best couple, and, and so forth and so on. So with that, we're going to go ahead and move on to Aubrey O'Day, who has not been any short of words for the last, I don't know how many years. Aubrey O'Day is one of those individuals. She's a spitfire, no doubt. She says what she needs to say. She speaks her piece. She shares her thoughts, whether you like it or not. That's Aubrey O'Day. So a lot of us, if we have watched Making the Band from the MTV years back in the day, when we really enjoyed watching those type of reality shows, we know that Aubrey O'Day was one of the cast members of that show, and then turned into an actual band member of what began to be the realized real life group of Danity Kane, which is a singing group of 5 young ladies who really did take, I think, the industry by storm initially, with all the backing that they had. And presumably, obviously with the influence of Diddy, they have been able to reach, certain heights within their career. But it did seem to start to crash down rather quickly after, as the rise had begun, it appeared. And within a very short period of time, we looked at a very fractured Danity Kane group, and no one really 100% knew, at least as far as viewers are concerned, all of the reasons why this happened. But a lot of directional blame seemed to go towards Aubrey as being the issue. And now we wonder if Aubrey really was the issue, or was she just standing up for herself in situations in which we may not have known. All things alleged, of course. So I do feel that when I first heard that, Dawn, who I shared in the part 1 of our sharing for this wrap up, I was really, shocked, because I didn't know all these things, obviously, and I didn't really keep up with a lot of, the goings on, so to speak, in the celebrity world. But I was, really shocked about the fact that Dawn had experienced what she experienced, and then ended up dropping her own lawsuit, as well as now testifying, as well as also backing up and supporting what Cassie alleged about certain instances. So, and then sharing instances of her own. So I was just really flabbergasted, and it really put a light on things very differently. That, oh my gosh, and it just felt like this is such a bigger thing than even what we may have realized in that moment. So yeah, that was quite interesting. So of course, naturally, I think a lot of people thought Aubrey O'Day may be next up on that stand, but maybe not so fast. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, this sharing is coming from People, and it shares that Aubrey O'Day will not testify. I repeat, will not testify at Sean Diddy Combs' trial, and she was never subpoenaed. That was exclusively given to People, and that's where we stand at this moment. The sharing continues to say Combs is on trial for S trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in activities unclothed that you see happening during the night. You know where I'm going with it. O'Day was a member of his girl group, Danity Kane. Now, former Danity Kane singer Aubrey O'Day will not take the stand in the high-profile federal trial of Sean Diddy Combs, she told TJ Holmes and Amy Robach in the premiere episode of a new podcast about the trial. Now, the 41-year-old artist who rose to fame on MTV's Making the Band under Diddy's guidance had made a May 14 Instagram post that some believed hinted at a possible court appearance at Diddy's trial. She posted a video from New York City with the caption, "Hey, New York, where y'all think I should head first?" She added a weighing scale emoji, commonly associated with, justice. Now, despite the post and earlier reports that she had been subpoenaed, People can confirm O'Day will not testify, as she was not subpoenaed by the prosecution or the defense. In the premiere episode of iHeartRadio's Amy Robach and TJ Holmes presents Aubrey O'Day covering the Diddy trial, O'Day told Holmes, "No, I'm not here to testify for the Diddy trial that I know of," she went on to claim that she was contacted by Homeland Security and did have a meeting with Homeland Security. She says, "I posted on my Instagram that I was here in New York and enjoying myself because I wanted to make it clear to everyone that I am not here testifying," O'Day said. Now, People reached out to Homeland Security, but has not heard back. Combs, 55, has pleaded not guilty to the multiple federal charges, including racketeering and trafficking. He was arrested in September 2024 and is currently being held without bail at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. If convicted, he faces a potential life sentence. Now, Cassandra Cassie Ventura, Combs' former girlfriend, has already made bombshell statements in her testimony during the trial. And on May 13th, Ventura described a relationship marked by emotional abuse and coercion. She told the court that she participated in S parties and referred to as freak-offs, and because she loved him so much, it was in quotes. Her testimony resumed the following day with a detailed account of the 2016 incident captured in hotel surveillance footage later released publicly by CNN. Ventura had earlier filed a civil lawsuit against Combs alleging R and physical abuse, although the case was settled for $20 million. It led to a wave of allegations that now underpin the ongoing criminal investigation. Now, the trial, which began with the opening statements on May 12th, is expected to last several weeks. And of course, Combs denies all allegations. So there you have it. Also, 2 more episodes apparently of Aubrey Day covering the Diddy trial will be released throughout the trial. So interesting enough, Aubrey says, like, look, if I cannot get led to the water, I'm going to get up as close as I can to it. And nevertheless, apparently she seems like she'll be available, whatever it comes what may. And is it too late for that to happen? Maybe, maybe not. But it appears that if neither party, neither side, whether the defense, the prosecution, hasn't subpoenaed her at this point, then they obviously feel for both sides they have enough of whatever they need to plead whatever part of the case side that they are on. But nevertheless, Aubrey's going to make sure she stays involved as much as she can into the situation. And if nothing else, at least she's going to talk about it, right? Which is something that Aubrey has been saying, many different dropping little hints and nuggets along the way of different things. Nothing necessarily accusing of this stuff, but letting us know that things probably were not always okay in the camp of Diddy. So yeah, there you go. Aubrey O'Day is going to make sure her name is still attached somehow in some form. And yeah, I guess if you are listening to that podcast from All Right Radio, then let me know. And if you have already heard it, do you plan on listening to it? I'd love to know down below. Definitely leave this respectfully down below if you plan on listening to that podcast. So now we're going to move on to Justin Bieber, because again, like I shared earlier in the video, Justin Bieber was someone that people have taken into speculation that may have possibly could have allegedly been a victim in the world of Diddy, so to speak. So that being said, well, it looks like there's some conversation being had now and silence is being broken on this, and we're going to go ahead and get into it right now. So, according to People, it shares that Justin Bieber breaks silence on whether he was among Diddy's victims amid the rapper's trafficking trial. Now, although Justin is not among Sean Combs' victims, there are individuals who are genuinely harmed by him, Bieber's rep said in a statement. Now, Justin Bieber has broken his silence amid Sean Diddy Combs' ongoing trafficking trial. The Peaches singer, 31, has largely remained quiet regarding his former friend and longtime collaborator. Now, Combs' September's arrest following multiple assault and trafficking accusations against him. However, Bieber's rep has now released a statement to confirm that he was not one of the Bad Boy Records founders' victims. Although Justin is not among Sean Combs' victims, there are individuals who were genuinely harmed by him, the spokesperson said in a statement obtained by People. Shifting focus away from this reality detracts from the justice these victims rightfully deserve, the rep added. Now, Combs' trafficking trial began on Monday, May 12th, after the rap mogul was indicted in September on charges of, again, trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in events that happen typically at night around the way with no clothes on. He has pleaded not guilty. Now, after Combs' arrest, a source told People in September that Bieber was focusing on his family after welcoming his son, Jack Blues. Congratulations again to Haley and Justin on their newborn son. He's been definitely focusing on that with his wife, and this is what was happening the month prior. He's aware of Diddy's arrest and all the allegations the insider told People at the time. It's not anything that he wants to focus on, though. And if he is, definitely sharing that he's not one of the victims, then by all means, I'm sure he's quite busy with the life that he has right now with his wife and his newborn son. Now, in March of last year, a clip of Combs hanging out with the 15-year-old Bieber resurfaced after the rapper's properties were raided as the allegations against him mounted. So this is where a lot of that, and maybe even before, but this is definitely seems to be the pinnacle point where people really start to think, oh my gosh, was Justin one of the individuals as well? Now, in the video shared to Bieber's YouTube page in 2009, which may or may not still be up, the Love Yourself singer and Combs were in the midst of spending 48 hours together. And while the record producer refused to disclose what they were up to, they discussed the prospect of getting some girls. The clip opened with Combs showing Bieber his Lamborghini and offering to give him the car once he turned 16, as well as his mansion once the young star was 18. Interesting. You ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, Justin is having 48 hours with Diddy. Him and his boy, the rapper said, adding, they're having the time of their lives. Now, where are we hanging out and what we're doing? We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream, he said in the video. Now, for the next 48 hours, he's with me, and we're going to go buck full crazy. Combs told the cameras elsewhere in the clip before asking Bieber what he was looking to do during their time together. Let's just go get some girls, Bieber said, as Combs replied, man after my heart. That's what I'm talking about. Whew, the prolific words of an individual going through what they're currently going through right now, right? So there you have it. That is basically the nitty gritty of those sharings in regards to three important individuals, for sure, Alex Espan and Justin Bieber, for sure. And of course, Aubrey too. You know, she's got things to share, then she got things to share. But these were definitely accounts that were, beneficial in its own way for informational purposes as well, and to know and to give an opportunity for the individuals to clear up anything, to speak on anything, share their thoughts about it, and hopefully at some point be able to move on from that point. And as I shared, very much involved with Alex, him showing the support and the love for his wife at the scale of which he has done is to be commended. And I wish them the continued best in their lives and their family, and for none of this kind of darkness to walk their darken their doorsteps, if you will, and to be able to move forward in the positive directional way, and to be role models in a way that allow their daughters. I think a lot about the children, the offspring, and I think about it for both sides, that they do not experience any of the things that were alleged in last week's trial and in subsequent lawsuits that we have heard over the last year and a half time frame, and maybe even for some things earlier than that. So again, all things alleged, as we wait and see how things will shape up and what ends up being the verdict at the end of it all. We've got more weeks to go, as it's been shared, and so this is just week one. So with that, I think that wraps up part 3 of this video. I will be sharing the last and final part 4, for this week's wrap up in a few hours. I definitely want to make sure that you have your all notification bells on so you do not miss that video. I definitely would like to know your thoughts as I share about what's going on in that particular video and providing my thoughts as well. And of course, I do appreciate you so much being here for this video. Definitely leave your thoughts on what you think about, the stuff that was shared here in this video in the comment section respectfully. And as I've shared in part 1, part 2, as we all know, this is a very sensitive nature. No matter which way you land on this situation, I do definitely appreciate all the respectable comments and commentary and perspectives that are left in the comment section in regards to this. So thank you so much again for being here. If you are new here and you haven't had an opportunity to hit the subscribe button, I hope that you will be part of the family. I would so love to have you. And again, for all of you that have already been part of the family and newly just got as part of the family, I thank you so much for being here. I truly do appreciate your viewing and listening support. And so with that, I'm going to bid you adieu on this video. Again, come on back for the last part, which will be the final part of the weekly wrap up. And we're going to be talking about, well, who else? 50 Cent, because of course he's got to throw in his cents as well. So make sure you come on back, and I will see you then. Bye for now.